What is going on, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global here, back with another video. The New England Patriots have been more than busy the last couple of days straight. I mean, this is probably the most busy they've been since probably free agency. But in this one, we are going to be talking about the team claiming wide receiver / quarterback / running back Malcolm Perry off waivers from the Miami Dolphins. Now, what I want to start off by saying is that if you claim a player off of waivers, because this is something that confused a lot of people, if you claim a player off of waivers, they get signed to your 53-man roster. So Malcolm Perry is not coming in to be put back on the practice squad. If the Patriots want him on the practice squad, they'll have to release him. He'll have to go through waivers again, and then they could potentially do that. But because New England claimed him off of waivers, he will be immediately placed on the 53-man roster. Now, Perry will ultimately be playing wide receiver for the Patriots. Again, he does have experience at quarterback. That's where he played, I believe, in college, and has experience at running back, but what he was drafted at is what he went to the combine as, was a wide receiver, and it's listed that when the Miami Dolphins drafted him in the 7th round, pick 246 overall back in 2020, they drafted him as a wide receiver. Now, let's get this straight. The type of wide receiver that Malcolm Perry is going to be more of your Gunnar Olszewski. Well, not even so much Gunnar Olszewski, because Gunnar Olszewski is more fast than people give him credit for. So more of like a Braxton Berrios, Riley McCarron-esque type of receiver. He's not a downfield threat. He's not going to burn you. He's not going to be an Aguilar. He's not going to be a Brandon Cooks. He's not a speedster, long story short. He ran a 4.63 in the 40-yard dash, so he's actually a pretty slow and sluggish receiver. You're going to see him more in the short to intermediate routes with his work, not so much down the field. Now, when doing my research on him, there were some adjectives or traits rather, I guess you should say, that constantly kept coming up about him. Those were that he's a tough player, he's a smart player, and he's very, very competitive. Now, no matter where you were drafted, what your talent level is, those traits can get you very, very far, not just in the NFL, but in life. And we've seen that several times just in the NFL itself. He's someone who is very, very, very professional on and off the field, who was actually elected by teammates and was a highly regarded team captain. Straight off the bat, you're going to notice that he's an undersized guy. He's only 5'9", 186 pounds, but he is a very, very tough runner when it comes to short yard pickups. Again, something that I expect the Patriots to do a lot this upcoming season, especially with Mac Jones. And he's someone that you mainly would expect to play in the slot. He does have slot experience, and at 5'9", not a speedster, not someone you're going to want to put on the outside. He's the type of guy that is able to make defenders miss. He's able to shake off tackles and is a good short-handed receiver. Catches the ball well, catches the ball as he should, doesn't catch it with his body, but reaches his hands out in order to make the catch. And they also said that he has a low center of gravity. And the best way that I can kind of put that into perspective is J.J. Taylor. They said the same thing about J.J. Taylor, and what's good about having a low center of gravity is that you're already low to the ground, so you are a little bit more agile. You know, if you're tripping, if you're falling, you can kind of put your hand down and regain your level of stability. And I actually find this really, really funny, because you hear about him and you just hear a classic Bill Belichick Patriots guy, right? So doing my report on Perry, I looked at his NFL scouting profile, and it says sources tell us. And it goes down here, and this is from a scout from an AFC team. They said, and I quote, "I'll put 5 on it right now that he's a Patriot, or that he's in Patriots camp. Watch." Ultimately, the Dolphins, of course, stuck with him for a little while, but as soon as he was released, the Patriots put a waiver claim in for him. Now, the interesting thing here, like I mentioned, is that he has played both running back and wide receiver. What I see a little bit more in him, and not as good of a pass catcher, at least right now, as James White is, but more so as James White. That type of playing style, that type of size. They say that he looks like a running back, but one that plays receiver. He's someone that's going to need to learn how to have a better route tree in the NFL and how to get open within his route trees and his short area quickness. Like I mentioned, he's not going to have long stability or long-term speed down the field, and he's not somebody that's very good at 50-50 balls. He can catch them, but the majority of the time, the defender is likely going to be able to win that matchup. He isn't someone who we've really seen that much, at least since entering the NFL, on special teams, but he does have at least a little bit of experience in the kicking game, at least as a kick returner, which the Patriots don't have a true kick returner as of yet. He has 20 career kick returns in which he averaged 24.6 yards per return. To me, Malcolm Perry screams a project for the Patriots. Someone who I think could definitely be good and definitely fits that mold of what they want, what they like in their wide receivers. That Julian Edelman, Braxton Berrios, Wes Welker, Jakobi Meyers type of receiver. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, he does need to get caught up to not just the NFL speed, but also how to play receiver. He hasn't had that much snaps playing receiver, so he still essentially needs to learn how to play that position. But I think within a couple of years, he could be good. I just don't necessarily think he's going to make an impact right now. And I could totally be wrong, but these attributes that I'm hearing, the research that I've done just screams a guy that should be more so on the practice squad and developed as time goes on, not so much someone that you're going to want to be a starter for you and someone that's really going to make an impact. I mean, hey, although he played wide receiver, he's listed as wide receiver and played receiver for the Dolphins, maybe this is a situation where because he has experience playing running back, the Patriots end up using him more as a running back. And that's just more of a hot take here, not something I'm expecting them to do. But just at 24 years old, obviously his best years, his development is still ahead of him. James White likely gone after this season. Maybe the Patriots make him the next James White, a receiver who can play running back, but is kind of a receiver within a running back. It actually looks like before he transferred to wide receiver, he had more success as a running back. So again, maybe that's the transition that the Patriots decide to take. He actually set the single season FBS record at the position with 2,017 rushing yards as a senior before he transitioned to wide receiver and entered the NFL. Not to mention that the 2019 American Athletic Conference Offensive Player of the Year, Perry saw 156 snaps on offense and 7 snaps on special teams over that span. Now, like I said, mainly has experience as a kick returner, but did return 1 punt for 12 yards. So does have some experience in general as a returner, mostly as a kick returner. And as long as they've Gunnar Olszewski, I'm not really worried about what happens as a punt returner. But the New England Patriots claim Malcolm Perry off waivers from the Miami Dolphins. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Let me know in the comment section below. Again, remember, he will be on the 53-man roster, not the practice squad. We'll just have to see how it goes, but definitely an intriguing addition here. Like always, guys, make sure you leave a like on this video. It truly helps and supports me and the channel tremendously, along with sharing the video and subscribing to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, I appreciate y'all for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Go Pats!